Traditionally, goalkeepers have always been a non-variable factor regardless of the tactics. It was believed that goalkeepers have nothing to do with a team's tactics and game plan, which stood true for most of the century. Goalkeepers were never forced to undergo situations of pressure on the ball, because back then goalkeepers were allowed to handle back passes, which led to diffusion of pressure altogether. As a result, teams never pressed the goalkeepers. However, back in the 2000s, football was about to be revolutionized. The back pass rule had been introduced, which meant goalies could no longer handle back passes. This opened up a whole new dimension to the game, as it meant teams could be pressed up higher, and as a countermeasure, building out of the back to break through defenses became imminent. As the Dutchman Johan Cruyff once said, "In my team, the goalkeeper is the first attacker, and the striker is the first defender." Building from the back has been one of modern football's highlights, and Ricardo La Volpe was one of the men responsible for this. La Volpe introduced a system called Salida La Volpiana, which means getting out of the loop. It is a way of building up from the back with one of the midfielders dropping between the two centre-backs, creating a temporary three-man defense, and the fullbacks pushing higher. You can find a lot of coaches doing something very similar, forming a 3-2-2-3 in transition. This may include inverted wingbacks as well. This helps in getting more players between the lines and operating in the center of the park. Salida La Volpiana is a repetitive process and only gets more efficient with the passing of 90 minutes. The objective of the system is A. Inviting pressure, B. Establishing numerical superiority, C. Opening spaces between the lines. If to put into perspective, this system can be called counter-attacking with the ball. La Volpe had the idea of building unusual superiorities all over the pitch. Salida La Volpiana creates 3v2s, 2v1s, and basic numerical superiorities all over the pitch, the most basic being 11 versus 10, which is the use of the modern goalkeeper. This was a result of reactive teams. When a team is reactive, its first stand is to defend, therefore a numerical advantage presents itself. That concludes the modern goalkeeper's job on the ball, but the modern goalkeeper has a lot of off-the-ball duties as well, in layman terms known as sweeping. Quite literally, it means to sweep the field left behind the defensive line. The biggest threat to teams with a high line is balls in behind. As we saw with Manchester City or Barcelona last season, many opposition attacks fizzled out at their goalkeeper's feet and later, calmly restarting the process. A sweeper keeper's starting position is very different to a regulation keeper's starting position. It may consist of high risk, but also pays its dividends in case of a hopeful ball over the top. It takes high amounts of concentration and awareness to perform the role of a sweeper keeper while maintaining a level of shot stopping, which is why a modern goalkeeper should be an adequate mix of shot stopper and a sweeper. Palace's Julian Speroni was one of the very first sweeper keepers in the modern game, to be followed by the likes of Ederson, Ter Stegen, Neuer, and Valdez. They all have made their fair share of mistakes, but have always performed the task at a level like none other. The high-risk, high-reward function has been at the root of several successful teams in the past, and will continue to do so.